Morning spark of hope. It's the pandemic, COVID is around, but it has not stopped us all year long from gathering for our monthly Spark of Hope session. And I thank you once again for joining us. Today you can see we're going to do something a little different. My sister is here and I'm going to explain to you what we're going to do today. But first, let's give God thanks for the wonderful October He gave us. And so let's say a prayer like we always do. God, we thank you for keeping us safe and sound, keeping us from all hurt, harm, and danger, for giving us life once again. We thank you for the wonderful October that you gave us. And now we look forward to a wonderful November where we're going to celebrate holidays and gather together. And Lord, we thank you already for when we gather for Thanksgiving this month. Our homes are going to be filled with peace and no family arguments, and we'll just be happy to see each other and be around each other. God, we thank you for everything that you're doing, and we put our full trust in you. And every believer from a grateful heart says amen. Well, I had a lot of things written down that I considered talking about today, but wanted to do something different, and I was talking to Nicole about it. And so she said, let's interview you. And I don't know if I've really been interviewed like on a church scene, but it might be very interesting. So I agreed to it, and that's what we're going to do today. I just want to say to someone listening, you're not feeling your best. You've been in the hospital, but you're going to be fine. Just keep a positive outlook, and just know it's a process, and just pray your way, faith your way, peace your way through the process, and you're going to be just fine. You know, my grandmother told me something, Maria Jaime. She had bad circulation in her legs, and she ended up having an accident on one of her legs, and they had to remove her leg, unfortunately. But after she lost the limb, one day she said to me out of nowhere, in a condition where she didn't have a leg, and she said to me, God still performs miracles. You know that, right? Yes. And I looked at her in her condition and thought, wow, yes, God still performs miracles, even when it looks like he didn't, or that our situation seems so grim, that she had gone past what had happened to her, and her mind was in a state of hope. And so whoever it is, maybe more than one person. And, you know, I hear some people say, well, can't you be specific? I just say it as God gives it to me. He didn't tell me a name, because we live in a day and time that you never know who watches this. And God is so awesome. This one word could apply to many people. Yes. And so maybe that's the reason he doesn't want to put a name on it. And so we just trust God in all things and always have a positive mind, and just believe God still performs miracles. Now we're going to turn it over to Nicole and let her interview me. Okay, it should be interesting.
Happy Saturday, everybody, and we want to say happy belated birthday to Dr. GreGory.
Thank
Yay.
you.
We just celebrated that, last week?
44.
Yep, just last week. And but I thought it would be a good idea, because Spark of Hope is, believe it or not, approaching 3 years in January.
Wow.
Can you believe that? So I want to just say congratulations on that, and you have inspired a community of believers just to think different. To take different paths to different situations, whether it be on our jobs, in our homes, just in our everyday life. And so when God put Spark of Hope in you, what were your initial impressions of what the class would be?
To tell you the truth, I thought at first it would be a prayer meeting.
Did you? Okay.
I didn't really see the life class at first. I thought when the Lord kept speaking to me, I want you to start something in the church called Spark of Hope, and not separate from the church.
Right.
The Lord told me, I want you to start something in the church called Spark of Hope. And I thought it was going to be like a Saturday prayer meeting. I didn't really see the life class.
Okay.
But I remember the first time we met, and we prayed.
Yeah, we did.
And we have really powerful prayer. But God is big.
He is.
And I think sometimes we limit him. But I think if you walk with the Lord in a way that if you'll do step one, and I say this in the class all the time, God's not going to give you step two until you do step one. And I think it wasn't until, I did step one, and I told you all, my family, we talked about it, and everyone thought it was a good idea, that the night before the first Spark of Hope, the Lord started giving me things to talk about.
Oh, wow. The night before?
The night before. So in my mind, I was prepared like for a prayer meeting with laying on of the hands of healing. And that's all it was going to be. But I think God knew that it needed to be more like life coaching. Because, like we get a lot of Bible studies. We
and
get
prayer.
prayer, and we get a lot of preaching. But a lot of people
Practical living.
Yeah, they don't seem to know always how to take that word, or what King David went through, or what the woman with the issue of blood went through, what Zechariah went through, and really apply it to day-to-day living. Imagine having to decide, I either bow down or I'm going to be killed, thrown into a fiery furnace.
And I even think too, Spark of Hope was even sort of a preparation for what the pandemic even. Because, you have taught us, there's different paths that you can take. It's your choice. But for me in particular, the lessons on children really helped me in the pandemic, be more patient, really to handle my children differently. So I really do believe that Spark of Hope really prepped us.
Yeah, it needed an in-home touch. Because you know how we deal with like children and mother and daughter relationships, and mother and sons, all of that. Yeah, but it was originally, I thought it was going to be like a Saturday prayer meeting.
Okay. So in studying, getting prepared for the lessons that you have, taught everyone, what have you learned about the way people receive? Because, Spark of Hope is like something that you would see on TV.
Okay. And
to finally have something up close and in person, to me, is a different learning experience. And because it's spiritual, it's even, to me, different than when you go to school, because you're learning how to live. So what have you learned about the human psyche and how we receive?
Now, I didn't hear these questions ahead of time. What have I learned about how people receive? I guess, another aspect, another layer that took on in our Spark of Hope, not only the prayer, not only the life lessons, but then we started fun things.
Yes.
We started baking and doing games and perhaps if I'm gathering my thoughts now, I'm thinking about prayer, His Word, and fun. And I think perhaps we learn through having fun. You know, it makes you more lighthearted. You know, even though we may do our fun part at the end of the session, we already know in our minds when we come to Spark of Hope, we're getting to the fun.
Right.
And I think it's that having fun that helps open the spirit. You know, it says laughter is a good medicine. And it's like the laughter allows the medicine, if you will, of His Word.
And too, I think it...
You get what I'm saying? The laughter is good medicine.
And it really built camaraderie. You know, you're sitting there, you're cheering people on.
Right.
And even a better sense of community togetherness. Like, I'm with you, I'm for you.
Remember that one thing we did where we were cheering, we were doing some kind of puzzle, was it?
Yes, and we timed it.
And we timed it. And the energy of the people pushing helped us achieve it. But if I learned, you know, one thing, how we receive, you know, we receive through, there's something about opening up when, again, you're simply having fun, when you look forward to something, when you have hope. And I think we've been so used to always coming to church to have a serious service. I'm not saying Spark of Hope is not serious. But when you come to Spark of Hope, you know that although we may pray and the prayer may get serious, we already know it's not going to just be that.
Right, it's different than a worship service.
Right. And there's something maybe about that kind of learning that I think people receive it and I think retain it better.
Yes, I was going to say the lessons have stuck. And too, you even did a portion where you would talk to people and we would hear their testimonies.
Yes. But you know, I always say too, I don't believe in teaching a subject too long. We have 3 subjects, and there's something, you know, from even studying psychology and things like that about not teaching it too long. And so I would say between timing it, making the topics diverse, like I'm not going to speak about faith for 1 hour.
Right.
If I teach on faith in Spark of Hope, it's probably going to be 5 to 7 minutes. But it sticks.
Yeah, which is smart too, because I also tell people, like when we're doing plays and stuff, if you look in that audience and people are on their cell phone, you've lost them.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and in Spark of Hope, it commands your attention.
Okay, yeah, okay.
You know, it really does.
It's been fun.
It has. So we are now 8 months into the coronavirus and this pandemic. How do you feel that it has affected the church?
I think it's affected the church. You see who's holy and who isn't. You see who really has a relationship with God, who's in the church, versus people who just come to church. I had prophesied to the church in January. I don't know if you remember this, and Adjutant Philip is helping on the cameras. But I told the church, I said, I feel in my spirit there's coming a time where the bishop, the elect lady won't be sitting there. The musicians, I didn't know what I was saying.
Right.
And to tell you the truth, as I was saying it, I had a little trepidation in my spirit because those are my parents.
Right.
So I was like, what are you saying? And even when I talked about musicians won't be there, psalmists, I won't be there. And there were times, you know, where the church was totally empty.
Yes.
But I just think that it has really shown fear that is in saints. Now, I believe in social distancing. Don't get me wrong. I wear my mask. I clean my hands. I believe in canceling church and doing online. I'm all for it. But I'll say this. If the Lord tells me to lay hands on somebody, now I'm not going to be tested by anyone who hears me say this and then come to church and say they're sick.
Right.
And they know they have COVID, but they're not telling anybody. Right. And they want me to pray for them. No.
Right.
Have a seat. Several. But if I cross someone's path with any sickness, and the Spirit of the Lord told me to lay hands, I would lay hands on them.
Yes.
Whereas you have some people that are really afraid. I'm not afraid of it, but I am sensitive to it because we have seen that COVID is killing both saint and sinner.
Yes.
God has not chosen to heal it. We have prayed all over this nation. All people have prayed, asked God to heal it, and he hasn't. And it's still roaming the earth. And I just think it has really shown saints who are fearful and who's in the church and who's not. Because sometimes when you do finally get a chance to come to church, I've noticed the praise and worship barometer is a little awkward. And it's a little awkward because when humans are in that house by themselves, I think, some have gotten into some really naughty things. And then when you get to church, you can feel that. But I said to the church, I got a little off track about Bishop and everybody not being there for a time. But I said to them, the Lord told me to tell this church, everything you've learned is required of you now. And what you're seeing now, whatever you didn't learn, you've missed a graduation. And that's what I feel in my spirit. I feel that the church has moved to something. We moved into a new era, and we moved into a new place in the spirit.
Yes, because either you remember everything you were taught, and for me, it made me, we're watching Jesus Coming Back movies. We're praying. We're doing our prayers at night.
Which was everything you were raised on.
Yeah. Like, not another Rapture movie. Yes, we're going to watch another Rapture movie.
We watched Rapture movies as kids.
Right. Or, it could take people a whole nother direction.
Yeah, and that's what I think. I think that there has been, God held a spiritual graduation, and you either learned or you didn't.
Wow. Now, is there anything in particular or in your spirit that you feel or you're seeing about this COVID-19?
I was just sharing with Mom. I think you were, was talking to you too. I think I was just talking in general in the house. But, obviously, like I keep saying, it's killing saints and sinners. And so there is a liberty that God has given it on the earth. That liberty reminds me, of course, we know Israel was kept from the plagues, but, it's interesting, when it came to the plague of death, Israel was not excluded. They had to do something. And, they had to put the blood on the doorpost. Isn't that interesting? How, the other plagues, they were not affected by. But when it came to the death angel,
yes, oh my God.
They had to do something in order for it not to affect them. So I've been thinking about that and praying and talking to the Lord. And I even asked the Lord, is there something that we can do or that we should be doing that would keep us from the death of COVID?
Yes.
And when I was talking to Mom, she said, I was just thinking about that too, because she said she was thinking about putting blessed oil over every doorpost. And I said, that's interesting that she would say that, because I had been asking the Lord, is there something? I'm not going to say that the Lord has spoken to me this definitely, because I haven't finished really supping with the Lord. But I'll tell you this, one thing I am feeling in my spirit about the saints and COVID, fasting. You know how I've been fasting.
And I've been fasting with you, and there is a different clarity when you fast, and there is a different way that God deals with you. And, you know, we have our own desires, but God changing his desire to what he wants for you. Where, you know, what you might be desiring might not be what God wants for you. Might not be in the will of, you know, for your life.
Right.
But to me, there's a certain clarity that you get with fasting that it's different.
It is. You know, so I'm not saying God told me to tell you to fast and you won't get COVID. But I would say to the saint, during this COVID, something that I'm seeing, that there is something that I think we should be doing. And the only thing I am hearing and kind of feeling, I'm hearing the word fasting.
Okay.
And you all know I've been doing a lot of fasting. And you have been too. And, you know, you have testimonies of how the Lord has protected you.
Yes.
Since you've been fasting.
Yeah, since I've been here even with you.
So I think there's something to it. If I'm seeing something in COVID, just like the death angel affected Israel, if they didn't put the blood on the doorpost, I would almost tell the saints, be fasting.
I believe in that blessed oil too.
Me too.
I mean, so
I'm not against that either.
I had a little drip going from my door.
Yeah. Well, you remember when Dad got sick in the hospital, I printed out the letter that they put on the doorpost. And we printed it out and put it over his hospital room. And the person to his left, in the room to his left, in the room to his right, they both died. But Bishop made it. And so I would say fast. And First Lady said, you know, Gregory, she said, I've been praying. And she said, I was thinking about putting blessed oil on my doors. And I said, see, obviously God is trying to reveal something. So put some blessed oil over your door. And you go, oh, well, what do I put it on? If you just put a dot.
Do a cross.
Do a cross, you know, something.
That's what I do. Okay, so let's get into a little bit of fun.
All right. Spark of hope. We got to have some fun.
So I wanted to do some holiday scenarios.
Oh, Jesus.
We have Thanksgiving coming up and Christmas, and you know, we can face little situations in our homes with holiday parties and that type of thing. So I'm going to give you some scenarios and you tell us how.
All right.
Give us suggestions. Your siblings let their kids run wild. You don't want to be a Grinch and start a fight. How do you get the kids under control?
Well, I honestly, if you know that their kids are rambunctious like that, even before you got to the house, I would say, now listen, everybody is invited, but I'm telling everybody, control your kids, because we all want to have a good time. And if you all don't want to see me with an attitude, don't let your kids jump up on my furniture. Not the day of.
Right.
I would say it before you got there, so that if it began happening, you know, Nicole.
Yes.
You know, something like that.
Okay, I love that answer. Okay, one of your siblings goes overboard with presents, but you're on a tight budget. How do you not disappoint with the presents?
I would say get creative. I don't know, something more personalized.
Like picture presents, those are always great.
Like I have this idea that I'm thinking about implementing myself starting 2021, and I've done this one time, but like when I give a person, like say a birthday gift, I give them a card, but I put the card in a frame.
Oh, I love that idea.
And so you can open the frame, you can read the card, but you know how you get some pretty cards and you go like, I don't really want to trash it, but you know, you have to. Start putting them in a frame. So that could be the gift. And you can go find pretty frames for $5, $7, seriously.
And I even think that's a good idea with children, maybe to throw a little gift like that in there. So it's not always just, you know, material things.
Right, and kids, you can get things for
of course, but it would be
cheap.
nice to throw one gift like that in there.
Yeah.
So you can start kind of getting that in there with them.
Yeah, I would just say get creative. You know, just try to get creative with what you give.
Okay, next question.
Oh, like for instance, people could be giving all this stuff, but you come give like a real big, huge bag of popcorn that may have cost you $6 to do. But because the popcorn is in such a big bag, the kids kind of remember your gift more than the expensive gift.
Right, I just saw something on Instagram and they bought the kid a little car, but there was balloons all over the room. And the kid wanted to play with the balloons. And ignored the car.
Yeah,
okay.
Something like that.
Next question. At the family gathering, your spouse repeatedly is making sarcastic remarks to your family. Everybody is giving them the side eye. How do you tell them to stop without starting an argument at the party?
Well, I think first it depends on, you know, your spouse. You know, and you may just suggest leaving. Because some people are just that way.
Yeah.
You know, or if not, just try to make light of it at the table. Say, dude, just stop talking or somebody's going to start throwing knives around here. You know, try to make light of it. And if not, just right out of nowhere say, hey, you know what? Time to go home because you starting crap.
Right. Just try to, you know, handle it that way.
Yeah, that situation, it just depends.
It can bring tension and just get bad.
Yes, try to make it lighthearted if you can.
Like, I left the oven on, baby. You got to go check on it.
Yes. Oh, Lord.
Okay, next question. Your college daughter comes home for the holidays, but only wants to spend time with her friends. How do you get her to spend time with you?
Just tell her. Just tell her. So I'm not trying to control your life, but I'm not getting any younger. And, you know, you go to school out of town and, you know, you're an adult, you have a right to see your friends, but give me this particular time, that day or whatever hours you want, we're going to go do this or something like that. Just flat out be totally honest about that.
Yeah, I think more parents need to do that because I would have to say when I was younger, I was all about having fun with my friends and traveling and stuff like that. But now that I'm older, I realize how much more important time is. You know, time with your parents.
Oh, yeah.
Time with your children. But I think when you're younger, you don't realize the importance of that.
No.
You know, and
most people don't.
The younger you can learn lessons now, the better you'll be, you know, as you become.
But I think, like, for me, that's why I even grieved our grandmother Maria's death so bad.
You spent a lot of time.
I spent a lot of time with her. Like, we were at a national convention in New Orleans. And there's a picture of me and her in the French Quarters having lunch.
I wasn't nowhere around. Nowhere.
You know, but I guess I got then, you know, spending that time.
But but to me, I think that's what makes your God-given wisdom so much more impactful. You know what I mean? Because you knew these things younger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
than we did. I'm in the mall, at our restaurants, whatever. You're with grandma and the older saints.
I was.
So the wisdom that you have now, as an adult is just, it's God's anointing and it's undeniable. Mm-hmm. So I would say to the kids on this question to really, the younger you can learn your lessons, the better you'll be, the better life you'll have, the better choices you'll make.
And just be honest. Mm-hmm. I want to spend, I know you're here, devote some time to your friends, but don't forget me. I want to spend a certain amount of time with you.
Mm-hmm. It's important. Yeah,
just say it. And don't get mad like, oh, you don't want to spend time. Don't say what you want.
Mm-hmm. It's very important in a whole bunch of situations. Say what you want. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, last question, and it's really good because we've all been through this. How do you handle that nosy family member that asks too many questions?
Well, as soon as you said it, I thought of something that happened to me and my dad's brother's wife was asking me a lot of questions. Mm-hmm. And again, I just say, be honest. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be rude in being honest. Mm-hmm. And she started asking too many questions, and I just felt that they were coming from, I felt that she was trying to ask me questions so that she could advise me in an ill way. Mm-hmm. But again, there's my sense. Mm-hmm. But a simple way of handling that, if a family member is asking too many questions, you just have to get some boldness and say it in a polite way like this. Like I said, I don't care to share.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or sometimes like for me, I said, is this an interview? But you could just say it funny. Just say it funny or whatever. So like,
yeah, that's true too.
You just kind of, maybe you'll both crack up, but just like, am I being interviewed right now? How is your daddy doing? When's the last time you did, and a lot of times I will repeat the question to them. And when it starts getting back and forth, they're like, okay, I'm asking too much.
Yeah, that's
Same
one
way in
way.
the nail shop.
That's one way too. I just said, I don't care to share.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah, and you can handle a lot of things with humor and get out of situations that you don't want to be in.
Yeah, you can.
Be like, oh, I got to go. You asking too many questions.
But people will try and test you.
They will.
Yeah, so you just say like, I don't care to share, and just let it come from a clean place.
Right, because we need to,
You know what I'm saying? Let it come from a clean place.
Yeah, we're not being rude or disrespectful, or things like that can really happen at holiday gatherings.
That is so true.
With people fighting and
and don't speak to each other for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care to share.
Okay, so we're gonna ask our last final, just fun questions. Okay, you ready?
Okay. That have nothing to do with holidays.
Have nothing to do with holidays. You can answer them.
Okay.
Okay, what is your favorite word?
Sublime.
Why?
I've just always liked the word, and I like things that are sublime.
Okay.
I'm always like, I'm liking things that are new. What's funny?
Now, Saints, don't go naming your child that, okay, please.
Yeah, that'd be ugly.
Okay.
But the song, saved by his power divine, saved through new life.
You really caught me off guard with that one.
That really is.
Okay, what is your least favorite word?
The Saints know this.
What's that?
Guacamole. I hate that word.
I know, like I hate when people say mac and cheese.
Yeah, and people go guac.
Oh yeah.
Guacamole. Guac, you got guac. So I call it avocado salsa. I hate that word.
Okay. So what profession other than your own would you have chosen?
I was undecided, but it was two things. And I had books on both. You probably remember this when I say it. I had books on, I wanted to be either a marine biologist or an astronaut.
Okay.
And I had all kind of Jacques Cousteau books on whales and dolphins and things about the ocean. And then I had all kind of space books. And
I think with your gifting, that would have been real interesting.
And I even had looked into a program, a NASA program for youth to do in the summer.
There's no telling what you would have seen.
Yeah, but I couldn't. I didn't get a chance to go to that NASA program in the summer because I was over the choir. Well, it's true.
Okay, because
I was deprived of that opportunity because I was over the choir at 13.
You keep catching me off guard.
It's true. I mean, I'm not scarred by it, but you know.
You've been dealing with adults for such a young age.
Yeah, back then, you know.
I couldn't imagine Nick is 13. I could not imagine Nick being over a choir.
I couldn't either.
Not the kids' choir.
I was over the adult choir.
Oh my God, the stories that you must have.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes. Okay. Hold on. One more. What is the funniest thing you've ever seen in church happen in church?
I accidentally kicked a lady in the butt. She had on all white at a national convention. I told that story though before the saints.
Because you crossed your legs.
My legs were crossed, and I wasn't.
Well, it was a square chairs with the middle open, and so there was a lot out.
Yeah, she ate too much. Spirit of gluttony.
Well, that would be in the stomach.
No.
If you
No.
If you ate too much, wouldn't that be in your stomach and not the back?
No, it was all in the back. And I accidentally kicked her in the butt so hard, she screamed out loud at the national.
Were your shoes pointed?
What? I'm sure at that time
Why did it hurt so bad?
They were penny loafers.
Why would it hurt so bad, I wonder?
I kicked her hard.
Ooh.
Yeah, she went, ah! And her husband was so mad. And my cousin Carl was with me, and he grabbed me really quick and made us run out of the service.
Good plan.
Yeah, but the funniest thing was, and I know we're almost out of time, was I was praying for somebody and they were kind of heavy and they were beginning to fall out. And when I went to catch them, I didn't have my footing and I had both feet on the floor, but it bent me over and it made me split my pants.
It was a full moon that night, huh?
Wow. Spark of hope. I hope you got something out of that today. The full moon and all this. But I hope we did something different. I hope you enjoyed it. Now stay tuned to what we put online, because for the week of Thanksgiving, we're going to do some holiday baking videos, holiday cooking videos that I'm going to put up. May show you how to do something for your table like we did in Spark of Hope last year. I may show you a new napkin fold. But one thing we're going to make are pumpkin bars. But I want to save that. I told Nicole, let's save that and publish that the week of Thanksgiving, just to do something fun. So if you are watching, please give a seed of hope and support Spark of Hope, and have a wonderful day today, and just repeat after me. My November is going to be blessed in Jesus' name. Thank you for joining.
Forgive me, saints.
She needs it.